Hey everyone, my name is Luke, your chronic pain and symptoms recovery coach. Today I just want to talk about the three main things that helped me when it came to recovering from chronic pain and symptoms. Now, I had, over the years, I had lots of different treatments and therapies and to varying levels of success. I think there are lots of treatments out there that help you to calm your nervous system and relax, be it a massage, be it journaling, be it any sort of treatment that helps you to either express emotions or to calm your nervous system, and anything that helps you to get back to normal life. So I support any of those things that work for you. But these were the three main things that really helped me in terms of just getting on the right track and to get better. But I certainly do think there's other things out there that can help you as well. So apologies, first of all, if the light keeps changing. I'm in front of a big window and the sun keeps dipping in and out of the clouds. So if you see it really brighten up, that's the reason why. So we'll get into these three main things. Now, the first one I'm going to touch on is probably one of the most important ones, in my opinion. And it's something I came to learn about later on in my sort of recovery journey. And that's reacting to symptoms, pain, tinnitus, any sort of symptom or sensation with indifference. And indifference is a word that I got from Dan Buglio. If you're watching this, you've probably seen some of his videos before previously. And it really does encapsulate the best sort of way to describe the right reactions to have, because especially when things sort of creep up on you, immediately your focus becomes fear, and fear is the main thing that drives chronic pain and symptoms. And whilst you're going to have that initial first reaction to the symptom, making that second reaction as one of indifference, and sometimes even in a sort of playful way, if you can just observe it and talk about it in a kind of like a playful way, it can really, really help. You're retraining your brain to react to that symptom and to learn that it's safe and you're okay, and that your brain doesn't have to turn on the pain and danger signals. So as I said, Dan Buglio was the one that really turned me on to the word indifference. And that was a really good one for me. It just helps me to sort of understand it better. To when I had a big flare of tinnitus come up, instead of really even like looking on a forum and trying to sort of figure out what I should do, or checking, thinking, had I done something wrong that day? Had I been in a really loud environment that caused this flare up, or did I just do something wrong? Instead, I just treated it as, okay, there it is. I know it goes up, I know it goes down, and I know it's going to go away as well. And I wasn't trying to fix it. This is the important thing. I just noticed it and just observed it for what it was, and tried to take all of my fear away from the reaction. Another thing that I heard on a podcast when I was going on the sort of earlier stages of my recovery, this was on a Nicole Sachs podcast. And I can't remember the lady she was speaking to, interviewing, and she was a musician, and she was having some chronic pain, I remember. But she said that when a pain came about, she would treat it like a friend, just just peeking over her shoulder, and she would say like, "Hey friend, there you are," and just treat it as a friend. And that's a really great thing to do. I found it kind of challenging to at first. It was a real hard thing to get my head around in that way. I was just coming to terms with the fact that it was down to my brain turning on these danger signals and this fear that was driving these symptoms. And by being playful with it and say like, "Hey friend," and just talking to it that way was very hard for me to get my head around at first, but I did, and I found it very useful also. So those are the two things that really work for me. Some people give I know some people give their symptoms names. That's something that can really help as well, and it helps to just what it's doing is just taking the fear out of the reaction. If something hurts, you're going to say ouch first of all. You're going to have that initial sort of tinge of pain, and that's okay as well. It's not something, because I think a lot of people as well, they can be that when they hear this kind of stuff, they can say, well, how can I possibly react to it in a neutral way, or in even sometimes a positive way? And it's not the initial ouch, it's the reaction after it, and how you react beyond that point is the really important thing, because you're just teaching your brain that symptom, that sensation is okay, and you don't need to worry about it, and then your nervous system can relax, and slowly your symptoms will then recede. So that is definitely probably the best piece of advice that I received, and the thing that really helped me the most. So the next thing that really helped me was getting back to regular, safe day-to-day activities. Especially at my lowest point, I was definitely in a pit of depression at the same sort of time. So along with the fear and the pain and sensations, I also withdrew from society, basically locked myself away, and I found it really hard to get myself up to go out and socialize again, or, especially with tinnitus, and I got really sensitive to sounds. Going into like a pub or something like that felt impossible to me at the time, let alone having the motivation to want to do it as well. I'd lost all of that at that point in time. So it was actually the point of just being like, look, I've got to make myself do this. I've got to take myself there in body so that my mind can get used to this again. And really, it was about doing that. It was making myself do these things, even though I didn't feel like it. And I know for a lot of people that if you are in bed and you're struggling to have the energy to move, that can seem like a whole different world away. But whatever you can do to get yourself closer to that next stage of getting back to normal day-to-day activities is a really important thing to do. To do your best to understand that having these symptoms, when they do creep up, even if you've overexerted yourself a little bit, that having these symptoms creep up on you and then reacting to them the way we spoke about in the first point, without fear and with safety, is the best way to retrain your brain as well. So you're actually hitting 2 points there by going and teaching your brain that normal day-to-day life is okay, it's safe to do these things. And then when you do get the symptom come up, to react to it in a safe way, in a calming and soothing way, is a big double whammy in terms of telling your brain that it's okay and you're safe, and to let go of those symptoms. And then finally, the third really important thing for me was changing my language and my actions especially when I was on my own. And so in terms of language, it wasn't talking about my symptoms all the time. It wasn't waiting for the other person to ask me how I was so then I could talk about my symptoms and say how sort of bad it was, or even how, I was braving through the day. I tried to tell the people around me to not ask me about my symptoms anymore, so I didn't have to talk about them that much. And sometimes there is an element of when you have these symptoms, they become a part of you. They become an identity to you. So trying to shift that can be quite difficult. The other thing I noticed as well is when I woke up, the first thought I had was, where's my pain? Where's my symptoms? Oh my God, I'm back in this horrible nightmare of a life. And changing that was also a really big, important one for me. To change that first thought of the day and not make it like a routine for me was a big deal. And that just happened not because I could change my initial thoughts. You're going to especially at the start, think of these things in the morning, especially if your brain's got used to it. But it was to immediately switch it to something else, to immediately switch it to what can I do this day? What am I able to do to get myself back on track to living a normal life? And a big one with that is getting up, getting washed and showered, and if possible, getting out of the house. That was an absolutely huge one for me. Getting washed and showered and wearing clothes rather than sitting in my pajamas or sweats was a huge one. Like, honestly, the difference of that is massive. I found that was huge for me, because there's something about getting dressed, wearing clothes, even if they're not the most comfortable, even if you're staying at home and you're wearing clothes that aren't the most comfortable, like outdoor clothes. I found that really, really helpful, because it just changed my sort of brain. It changed my mindset to I'm not just going to wallow in whatever sort of pit I've created here. I want to go out and I'm going to live my life, or if I'm at home, I'm going to just get about my day and try to be as productive as possible. And just a simple change of clothes really can make a big difference. And then when there was times that I was caught in a bit of a fear state, not indulging it. So staying off forums was another big one I found. At my early stages, I was on forums quite a lot, and it was honestly the worst place I could possibly be. I was Googling things left, right and centre. But those forums that are, unfortunately, they should be places of positivity, but unfortunately they just aren't. So when I made the decision to never go on a forum again, that was a huge, huge step in the right direction for me. So they were the three main things that helped me. Of course, there are other techniques and there are other things that helped me along the way in the past, but those were the three core things. Now I've done training under Howard Schubiner, and I've learned a lot more about chronic pain and symptoms and how to soothe that nervous system down. There's a lot more to talk about, so I will do that in future videos. But thank thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I hope it helped. If there's any other subjects you'd like to see me talk about, drop them in the comments. I do also offer one-on-one sessions, so I'll put my website in the description as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.